Welcome to Restore 2022. Today we're reading chapters 19 and 20 of Judges. They recount one of the most sordid stories in the Bible. Incidents of rape, murder and wicked indifference to what was going on result in the death of an innocent woman and eventually to civil war. In the end, an entire city is decimated, persons, animals and property being utterly destroyed. Chapter 19 begins by repeating a statement made at the start of the previous chapter. In those days, there was no king in Israel, implying things would have been very different if there had been a godly king leading the nation. After all, Moses had left instructions that a king should write for himself a book with a copy of all the law and read it all the days of his life. Then, in the fear of the Lord, he should rule by it. But after the death of Joshua, and without any law enforcement, the people began to disobey God's commands until the land became increasingly debased. And this chapter 19 seems deliberately to mirror the wickedness of Sodom in Genesis 19 to demonstrate just how perverse the nation had become. The whole of this chapter reads like a real-life version of the horror film you won't let your children watch. There's a Levite with a runaway concubine, his extra but unfaithful wife, a father-in-law giving exaggerated and suspect, perhaps even spooky hospitality. There's a shocking indifference of the people of Gibeah who refuse to give lodging to travellers camping in the public square. And there's the awful inhumanity of the Levite who, to save his own skin, sacrifices his concubine to a lust-filled rabble. And finally, the macabre means he uses to rally forces against the violators. Everything is out of kilter. It's a nightmarish anarchy. The chapter illustrates Paul's warning in Romans that when men know God but don't see fit to acknowledge him, every kind of wickedness blossoms. These Israelites knew God. The Ark of the Covenant was at Bethel, with a descendant of Aaron ministering before it. But in general, they ignored God, and everyone did what was right in his own eyes. Chapter 20 is a tragedy. Tribal forces massing to fight the tribe of Benjamin because the citizens of Gibeah refuse to hand over the culprits who violated the concubine. The city shamelessly shields them, and so war is unleashed. However, the number of 400,000 combatants mentioned in the chapter is problematic, and this may be more than the entire population of Israel at the time. The IVP Bible background commentary suggests that the word translated thousands should be rendered by its alternate meaning of companies or divisions. Even so, it was a huge army. Lots were cast and several attacks launched against the city, which eventually fell using the same stratagem used by Joshua against Ai. Archaeology has confirmed that the site was utterly destroyed, that it was razed to the ground. It was rebuilt though, and years later, King Saul made it his capital.